Bagra Fortress is one of the most polarizing maps in Modern Warfare 2 in the fact that a lot of people actually like it, but most people do recognize that it is tilted in favor of one side very heavily, so much so that it was recently replaced in both the CDL and ranked play by the new Himmelmatt Expo map, which isn't very good, but it did replace the control game mode on Fortress. But however, Hardpoint and Search and Destroy remain, and that's mainly because Hardpoint and Search and Destroy both play decently on this map. Not great, but pretty well for Modern Warfare 2 standards. The control game mode was just impossible. So I felt like this was the perfect map to start up a series where I show you guys the perfect way to play each map, and in today's video, I'm going to be pulling what I felt like was the most perfect gameplay I could find. I'm going to show you guys how OpTic Texas was able to put Atlanta FaZe in the 100-point club, and also for any casual fans who aren't aware, the 100-point club means your team didn't even score 100 points against the other team, which means obviously you lost 250 to, 90 or 80, something bad. It was a big blowout. And the reason that's important for OpTic is because not only is FaZe their rival, but Atlanta FaZe was one of the greatest teams of all time, having Simp, Cellium, and Abezy. And by the way, Abezy is probably the front runner for MVP this season. Simp has previously been the greatest player in the game. Cellium has also had that title. They also have Slasher, who is a top 10 player of all time as well. So as you can tell, that team is loaded. And OpTic were actually coming into this tournament as their first run with their new roster, which included Dashy and Shotzzy, who have been around on OpTic Texas since it was first started, but they also now had Ghosty in his very first LAN event, and OpTic Huke, who has been around for a while himself. So now let's talk about how they were able to dominate one of the greatest rosters in the game in their very first tournament together, and how you can use what they did during ranked play to get better at the game.
It's one of the greatest rivalries that we've seen in Call of Duty history. And now it is time for them to duel again.
So for starters, OpTic got the bad spawn. The reason it's the bad spawn is because P2 is over on the opposite side of the map. So look at what Shotzzy does. Notice how no one from OpTic went to P1. No one's worried about getting time on the hardpoint. Shotzzy immediately sprinted across the map to try to flip spawns. Now notice he doesn't go immediately try to fight the person who just shot him. He waits, he plays patient, and just sits in a corner. This gives his teammates an opportunity to move around while FaZe focuses on him. If you watch the minimap, look at all the white arrows turning behind them to try to see where Shotzzy is. He does a great job here of playing his life, and this is a good thing for solo players to watch because you can make such a big difference in any game, of hardpoint especially, just by flipping spawns in your team's favor. It works to a T because now after Huke takes out the guy laying in open, all of a sudden FaZe is put in the deadliest spawn trap in Modern Warfare 2. I mean, if you notice where FaZe is spawning here, they have no choice but to try to funnel through either gate, maps, the opposite side by P5 and the horse statue. But Shotzzy's just going to go ahead and call some chaos top maps, doing what he does as one of the best players in the world. And it's making it so much easier on his team because he's never pushing past maps. If he were to go through maps, the spawns would flip and OpTic would have P3 spawns, but they don't want to do that yet. There's still 40 plus seconds left on P2. So what you want to do is try to hold, try to make sure FaZe can't flip the spawns, and that's why they have someone sitting on the back steps with an AR, not getting time, because it's more important to at least keep them off the hill and keep spawns than it is to jump on the hill for an extra 1 or 2 points and then die. Now, Abezy's forced to make a decision here, Cellium as well. They have to go P3 and give up this next 15 seconds for free to OpTic. The reason for that is because they're down so far behind. If they try to break P2 again and all die, Shotzzy might fly through and get his team the spawns once again, and you see what happens when he did it the first time. This is a good example of why it really doesn't matter how much time someone has on the hill at the end of each game. Everyone has a different role and a different responsibility. Shotzzy in this position may end up with 12 seconds on the hill for the whole game, yet he could still be the most impactful player on the map because he's going and getting spawns. He's playing cutoff to make sure he keeps the enemy team in a decent spawn trap so that his teammates have a lot less to worry about. He's really doing all the dirty work alongside Huke as the SMG players. However, this is a good hold out of FaZe. They managed to get 4 dead here. You're never going to completely shut down guys like Simp and Abezy, but at the end of the day, they did a great job of at least making it stressful holding P3. It is one of the easiest hills in the game to get a full 60 on because look at how easy it is if you have one guy sitting on the hill with the trophy and an AR, and then the other guys just flow through top maps and play cutoff. Notice how they never have 4 people sitting on the hill, because that would just be a waste of resources. Really, at the end of the day, you want to have all 4 of your players doing something different. That way it's less predictable. Now also notice how Huke's holding a really good spot there. They stun check it and then both hit the door together. Using teamwork in situations like that, especially to bait and switch, can be crucial in any match. And now Ghosty sitting in an incredible corner on top of the door there. No one's going to predict that. Notice how he had to just get right out of there. I believe that was Simp, who just took a few bullets from Ghosty. And Ghosty's going to go ahead and reposition. He realizes, okay, now it's not really a secret spot. They know where to look. He's going to go somewhere else. And watch how no one knows where to look when they come in. Simp and Abezy, 2 of the greatest, probably the greatest duo of all time, come in and had no clue where to look because Ghosty was just being a rat. That's one of the tips I gave you guys in my recent top 10 tips video. That's a pretty good example of it working out there. Now I skipped ahead because look at the score. It's been a very competitive game up to this point. This is where OpTic begins to play absolutely perfect Call of Duty. They have Dashy hop on the hill with his trophy, they have one person holding back dub steps, and they have Shotzzy pushing up to cut off. Now look at the minimap and notice one guy is not going to move up too far. I believe it's Ghosty in the back. He's not going to do too much. He's just going to hold the spawns and make sure no one can hit the full flank. Now Huke is watching the stables side of the map, so he's making sure that FaZe doesn't flood through open and closed or bottom art. And as you can see, Ghosty and Dashy are just playing the hill as well as they can. On P1, you don't need to get a full 60. If you just get 15 seconds and you keep the other team off of that hill, as long as you have spawns for P2, you're in really good standing. And as you can see here, looking at the minimap again, OpTic is holding down every lane they can. FaZe is going to try to flood through the open and closed area. And so as FaZe does flood through, you can see that OpTic was ready for it. They were all holding different angles. And I mean, FaZe had no chance there, really. They get completely wiped out. And now Huke is doing what Shotzzy was doing, just playing the cutoff man role, stopping FaZe from getting out of their spawns. Now let's listen to their comms.
Back door, back door, back door. Left side, back steps. They're spawning stoner gate, stoner gate. I have our bench, Same out. What you back door, left you back. I got one more, to the side play. You play ahead, leave him. You might have to back up there. I have more fire time. I have more gate back. Sit on the rails box. I spawn out. I have my front, guys. I have the box. One guy's already maps. In maps, you said? I have my front. In maps, one shot, two maps, one shot. I hear
The reason I left that in is because I know a lot of casual fans may watch tips videos and they may not watch the pros actually play the game. So that's what pro comms sound like. Notice there was no screaming over angry deaths. There was no excuses being made. It was just, this is what's going on. I died from here. So-and-so is here. I'm stunned. They're giving out everything they can. And now they're just kind of in that zone where they can do no wrong. FaZe is a little scared to really even do anything, and the main thing here is just paying attention to how OpTic never overcommits or overextends. They hold every power point they can. Notice Ghosty here, just making sure the spawns stick around even though they're already up by so much. He could go try and slay out, boost his stats a bit, but no, same with Huke. He's going to sit on the Godheady there, and they ultimately destroy one of the best teams ever. So again, Bagra's probably the most hated map in ranked. I mean, a lot of people dislike some other maps, but this one is kind of the common consensus. Most people think it sucks. I personally don't really like it, but I did think that this was a great opportunity to show you guys what the best possible way to play this game looks like. When it comes to Hardpoint on Bagra, I got a lot of comments of people saying they would like help with that. So this is the best way to show it, right? Now I can show you guys how I play it, and I will have a full map guide here soon with nade spots, jump spots, lines of sight, all that. But for now, how about I show you guys OpTic destroying one of the best teams ever and putting them in the 100-point club on this map. It's as good as it gets. I think they're the best team on Bagra Fortress Hardpoint in the CDL, and you guys should tune in this weekend and every weekend that it's on, because it is really entertaining to watch the pros play it. Let me know if you guys want more episodes in this. I could call the series Perfect Play or something like that, because I'll show you guys how the pros can turn a map into just a perfect gameplay experience. But with that being said, thank you guys to everyone who has commented OBJ. Here's a list of everyone. It's too many at this point. I can't keep reading all the names individually, but thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys very, very soon.